Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to Honest Trailer Commentaries for Titanic, as Celine Dion would say. And a happy Valentine's Day to you all. We are watching... Oh my gosh, Danielle. Hey. And also introducing Danielle Radford, live, not in studio, but live as well. Hey, Danielle, how's it going?
I'm live on the scene here. I'm at the Titanic, in front of one of its very many doors.
Yeah.
Danielle Radford coming to you live, Titanic. Hope everything goes great. This is my first cruise.
Via satellite from the North Atlantic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We are going to watch the Honest Trailer together, start and stop when we have more things to say, give you our general thoughts about this film 25, 26 years later. We have some deleted scenes and cut jokes that we'll show you, and then we will respond to your comments and questions. So put those in the chat as we're talking, and then we will tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. One of my favorite movies.
One of former President Donald Trump's favorite
One of Donald
movies.
Trump's favorite movies. Probably the only thing Trump and I have in common, besides a love of McDonald's.
Yeah, sure. I was going to say Quarter Pounders also.
Is this film. So that's, well, there's your clue. But let's talk about Titanic. This got I feel like they throw this back in theaters around Valentine's Day a lot. I don't think this is the first time they've done this, but I really wish I saw this on a big screen. I did in '97, but man, Cameron, he's fucking good at making big blockbuster movies. I gotta say, it's like very schmaltzy. It's very like on the nose and unapologetically cornball and basic. But he's the best at it. I think he's the best. He's the best at that kind of movie.
I think he's not afraid of that, of heart on his sleeve, sincerity. It's a throwback, old school romance, and he's not trying to be too cool for school. He's not trying to be above the material. He fully embraces it, and the evil characters are allowed to be scene-chewingly, mustache-twirlingly evil, and the romantic lead is like the ultimate. You know, like everything is allowed to be at an 11, and he's okay with that, and I think that's very satisfying on some level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and obviously I'm a woman of a certain age, so very much appreciated Titanic on all of the many seeings I saw it in the theater. But it's also that's exactly right where it. And back then, obviously, that doesn't seem like it's such a big deal. But now, where it's like, okay, you mean no one's gonna wink at the camera and be like, "Here we go again," you know, like no one's gonna be clipping or any of that stuff. It's just gonna be a genuine movie that doesn't feel the need to apologize for being a movie. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
They used to make them like that.
And
not so much anymore, except Top Gun Maverick.
I also feel
and Avatar 2.
I also feel like you know, you could say like, well, it's, you know, like Titanic, it's a little bit to please everybody. You've got this sort of throwback kind of romantic drama, but then you've also got this crazy disaster movie, and it really is like 50-50. I mean, at almost the exact halfway point, it shifts from period romantic drama to disaster action movie on sinking boat, and both halves are equally satisfying and well done, and so it really is like it's a true like 4-quadrant. Like there's a little bit of something for everybody in here.
I in '97 was a contrarian little shit. Not much has changed, but back then, but I think that it was just the fact that like girls were so into Leo and so into this movie and so into that song. Just every school assembly or any chance that a girl had to sing Celine Dion, you were getting it. That like
that girl had no friends.
No. I was gonna say her name, but like it's the internet. You could probably Google her. I like the captain at the end. I never let it in. I never let it in. But seeing this as a grown person and like away from the phenomenon that really was a phenomenon. At the time. Like you cannot escape either parodies of this movie or just people talking about this movie and people seeing this movie and not shutting up about Leo and everything.
I mean, I think
it's good.
It's good. It's really good. For years after, I mean, even like Rick and Morty has a Titanic episode where they go to like a Titanic exhibition or theme park or something like. It made a massive impact in pop culture. We're still feeling the ripple effects of it to this day. I think you really can't overstate the impact that Titanic had.
It's big. Big movie.
Big movie. But good, like holds up, still very entertaining. And I mean, amazingly for the late 90s, considering how many digital effects are all over this thing, still looks great.
Really good.
I mean, you could say like they knock out, CG animation so quickly now that it kind of looks not so great. But even in the late 90s, if you really spent your time and focused on it, it holds up. It looks great today.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Let's see how our Honest Trailer holds up, and watch it together. Roll it.
I hope it holds up. We just made it.
Titanic is returning to theaters for its 25th anniversary, giving dudes everywhere an easy way to seal the deal this Valentine's Day. Now, settle in for a remastered honest trailer of the one we made back in 2012, because some things have changed since then, but honestly not that much.
Together, their undying love made James Cameron filthy f***ing rich.
Titanic 2023 Remastered Edition.
So pause. It is easy for us to update the old Honest Trailers because they used to be like a minute 20 tops.
Yeah, that was the biggest surprise going back, was like, oh, this was so short. They had a whole week to do this?
Yeah, you just make like 8 jokes and you're out, which is great. Now we actually have to talk about everything because you keep complaining that you didn't talk about That's not true. We actually have a lot to say about these.
Yeah, I don't feel like we're not bowing to the public.
So it is fun.
Scripts are even longer usually.
I'm trying to think of
other cut them down.
Other remasters I'd like to do. I'd like to revisit Twilight, if there's an excuse. And I think that back in the day, we did the whole Harry Potter franchise at once.
Right. This is what I was going to say.
I think each Harry Potter deserves its own critical reevaluation.
We did that a few times. There are a few franchises where
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like they're all one, and it's like, we could go break those up.
I'm a content man now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree that I am a content man.
I drink content.
This is my son and partner, Spencer W.
So yeah, expect more content in those hills.
I can promise you we will have this content ready for you in 10 days. Daniel Plainview.
Yes, thank you. All right, keep going. I wasn't sure what impression you were doing.
This paper survives 80 years at the bottom of the ocean. Somehow, this 100-year-old will explain where the priceless jewel between her boobs went in a film that dares to imagine, what if your grandma's rambling stories were actually interesting?
It was the most erotic moment of my life.
Ma'am, that is your granddaughter. But it's such an epic tale, you'll barely even wonder how she knows what everyone else was saying at all times.
While I was being plowed in the backseat of a Coupe de Ville, a lookout was chatting about his special nose.
I can smell us, When it's near.
Anyway, back to the set.
Yeah, pause. There's a lot of moments that could be explained if you think like, okay, maybe she did some reading about Titanic afterwards.
She's filling in details.
Read, some details about some survivors and stuff. But there are full-blown conversations and things that you just forget that the narrative framing device is this 100-year-old woman who gave no information over the phone, just showed up on deck and started talking.
At some point, you feel like Paxton's team was like, no, all right, the jewel wasn't at this dinner. Okay, I think we can skip it. Like, we got it,
It's just that good. It's that much for
Was
romance.
the jewel in his mouth? Is that why you kissed him? Because it was in his mouth? Okay, well, then we probably don't need to do that in front of your granddaughter.
The jewel was still in the safe for all. Okay, you could just skip to the part where you guys get it out of the safe. Okay, I think that's.
No, you don't need to come here in person. You can just tell me where the jewel is.
It's a research vessel in the middle of the ocean. It's not really safe for a 100-year-old. Oh, you're coming? Okay.
This will take days to get you here.
The guy taping it is going through like 2 VHSs of just like her talking about the time she got plowed.
Change tape.
Yeah, no, she's Carla Gugino at the wedding from Bly Mannering, where it's like, everyone gather around the fireplace. We're going to tell an 8-hour story. It's like, can you just get to the part where did the ghosts show up?
All right, keep going.
See Bly Manor, everyone.
Board the Titanic, a ship inspired by your mom.
She is the largest moving object ever made by the hand of man in all history.
And that's a big ass. We're talking 20, 30,000 tons.
Tour the extremely British upper decks.
Keep order here! Keep order, I said!
The ethnic stereotypes below.
I'm Tommy Ryan.
Fabrizio.
And the more people below even them.
It's a small world.
Right up! We go full ahead!
Then welcome aboard young Rose, a once and future drama queen.
To me, it was a slave ship taking me back to America in chains.
Okay, relax. Watch as this 17-year-old risks it all and throws caution to the wind, because you never know how long you've got until Leonardo DiCaprio leaves you for a literal child.
You're still my best girl, Cora.
Not getting the best vibes from this guy. Leo splits his way.
We don't need to dive into that. That said, I think that I was struggling in writing this because there really isn't much to their characters. This is like Romeo and Juliet. They're young and they're in love. So it's a testament to the smoldering good looks of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Sure.
And the excellent performance by Kate Winslet that this works because their characters are like, they're young and horny and he's poor and she's rich. Full stop.
Yeah, I mean, right. It's like he spends time, sort of giving you the scenario, and so you can understand why these two people would be pulled together. But yeah, he doesn't have that much time. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts to your Titanic film.
Yeah.
You got to come up with sort of shorthand ways to be like, they're bonding. You only have a few scenes to really establish it.
Yeah, he's just like a vacation boyfriend. It's fine.
This one time at summer camp, or on a cruise.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I do think that's part of the context here. Is like this would have been a shipboard fling if that ship didn't happen to memorably crash into an iceberg.
Yeah. More on Leo in a moment. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Every millennial girl's heart as Jack Dawson, while he drags Rose into a whirlwind romance, literally.
Come with me.
Jack, wait!
Come on! Come on! Well, come on!
This was a good observation. I didn't put how many scenes are just him pulling her around.
Yeah. Come on! Move! Come on!
Jack,
come
no!
on!
Come on!
He's impossibly hot, hopelessly romantic, and completely devoted to a woman he spent like 12 hours with tops. He even dropped his Wisconsin accent to be more attractive.
I grew up there near Chippewa Falls.
And as I was saying, that water there is cold enough to freeze your pooper off, don't you know?
Real as Jack and Rose.
Yeah, go Packers.
Yeah, a lot of that in the Slack. Like, oh, sure, you got to get on that Titanic there.
Rose, you ever try Culver's? They got cheese curds right there on the French fries.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, this ship's way too large to ever go down. Oofda.
Walking around looking for the hot dish plate.
I think,
sorry, everybody from the North Midwest. You're charming, lovely people. We don't mean to make.
I think this is an homage. Kevin, our editor, was making the case that Jack totally could be conning her. I mean, granted, he does give up his life, which is a point in favor of him being genuine.
Yeah, him freezing to death on her behalf, I think, makes his case.
But like his the timeline doesn't really add up. He was going into like travel time, so he's in Chippewa Falls until he's 15, and I think he's 20 in the movie.
Yeah,
he's had 5 years to travel the world and have all these experiences, like Santa Monica Pier, France, this place, that place. He's like globetrotting
and he's right, and he's explaining that he's getting like odd jobs wherever he goes to like pay his way to the next destination. But timing wise, it's a little tight.
I think he
considering
just finds
his
like
world travel.
a wealthy dowager's daughter on every voyage, and he's just like, this is kind of his move.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
that guy does exist.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there were those dudes in the 1900s, like that was a viable
on steamers.
Yeah. You were like a steamer gigolo. Like it was like you were that guy.
I'm a steamer gigolo.
I'm just a steamer gigolo.
All right, keep going.
Deal with her fiance Cal, the Monopoly guy with better hair.
We are royalty, Rose.
Even though Billy Zane is the only man who looks better bald.
Come on.
Escape from Rose's evil mother, who lost her husband and doesn't want to live in poverty? What a pal around with Molly Brown, literally the only nice rich person on board.
You shine up like a new penny.
And set sail with the captain, who is just one voyage short of retirement.
Retire with a bang, AEJ.
You people can't just go around foreshadowing like that and expect not to die.
It is unsinkable. God himself could not sink this ship.
is all the lifeboat you need.
But this ship can't sink.
We're the luckiest sons of in the world, you know that?
Jinx.
Yeah, pause. There's even more of
Yeah, there was like a hugely long list of foreshadow. There's so because again, it's like Cameron wears his heart in his sleeve. He doesn't hold back. You know, he knows every time he throws a line like that, it's gonna goose the audience.
He knows you're gonna watch it more than once, really.
Right. Well, I mean, he even foreshadows other than even the ship sinking. There'll be like a scene where they're looking at a painting, be like, "Who's the artist who made this again? Picasso? It'll never work." You know, like he puts in tons of stuff like that just to get you. You know.
Why does she put up Picasso's in her room? Like
she's a fan. She just knows good art.
She's just that fancy.
She just knows good art.
How long was the Titanic
well, the other thing is like the Picassos at that point aren't as like the Degas is very valuable because he was already well established. Picasso at this point, he's this young firebrand, you know, like he wasn't.
I just meant like
it wasn't the most expensive
was it like
art
a 4-day cruise? 5 maybe? How long's it supposed to take to sail across the?
I know that they actually hit the iceberg on the 4th day, so it must be like a 5 or 6 day total trip. I'm guessing.
And that was we did the math. They don't spend more than 12 hours in each other's company.
It's pretty tight, yeah. Because even on the days that they're there, there's really only one day they spend the bulk of the day together. The rest of the time, they're kind of just meeting up in secret when they can.
Yeah. Hot. Very hot. Okay, keep going.
Strap in for a perfect split between romance and disaster. Plus, the horror film rule, where if you have sex outside of marriage, a monster rises from the deep to kill everyone you love.
Yeah.
As the Titanic goes down in stunning detail, handing out hundreds of deaths that range from heartbreaking to kinda funny to pretty unnecessary, since that piece of wood was clearly big enough for two.
Jack.
I know it's poetic, Mr. Cameron, but this is the internet. You get one small detail wrong and no one will shut up about it for 25 years.
80% of my body is out of the water.
I think Jack's death was needless.
Everybody in here know that she should have got up off that bed and shared it with him.
Could Jack have fit on that door at the end?
Oh my gosh.
No comment.
I would have shared the raft.
I've never really seen it as a debate. It's just stupid.
I'm with you,
Cameron's
Jim.
verdict?
Jack might have lived.
Yes, I knew it. I never let go, Jack.
So,
I
pause.
never let go.
Just didn't. I mean, okay, let's talk doors. You see him try to get on with her, and it doesn't work.
Right.
So it's more like the prop department's fault for making a door that was too big, I think, because in the script or in the directing, he's like, okay, they both try to get on. It's only big enough for one. Like, I'm sure that's how it's written.
Right. He didn't write the measurements of the
it's
door
7.5 feet
in the script. He was just like, Jack can't get on the door without sinking it, so he's got to hang over the side. That's
and I
all
also that clip was from a Titanic documentary or National Geographic documentary that just came out this week, where they try to recreate. He's really like trying to put this to rest because they recreate the water temperature. Like this poor guy who's the stand-in for Jack is like has hypothermia.
Freezing,
He's freezing his ass off.
Yeah, he's
and
like shaking.
They do like the switching thing, and it's like working pretty well. But they're like, well, now let's do the switching thing. Like if Jack would be as exhausted as he would have been after running around the Titanic, and they like put him on a treadmill and they have him like get punched and run around.
I just don't get why people are so fixated on this one.
Do you know why?
Movie fact.
Because they're sad, and they don't want to admit that they got sad that Jack died, or they're like, I'm angry that you made me feel something.
Like, we are accepting that Ant-Man shrinks down to subatomic size and then goes and has like a little adventure in a tiny city with tiny Jonathan Majors.
Sure.
Like, that's okay, but like, that door wasn't quite big enough for two people. Like, no, prove it.
Because I think people want Jack to live, and they're trying to rationalize
but
that.
It's like, do you remember the Last of Us episode 3, the one everybody liked?
Let's not spoil the.
But I'm not going to spoil anything. But Murray Bartlett's character says, "I don't approve of this," but it's very romantic. Like right at the end, that's what it is. Like maybe this wouldn't have worked out exactly like this in real history, but it's very romantic, folks.
Yeah, it is Romeo and Juliet. It's a doomed romance romance.
It's
He's sacrificing
Valentine's
himself.
Day. He's got. Honestly, the story does not work if Jack survives because then you're like, well, what happened? Why did you marry Grandpa instead of Jack
Turned
Dawson?
out to be kind of a pedophile.
Yeah,
a little bit creepy.
We went out for a year and a half. It didn't work out. You know, people grow apart. Don't worry about it. Then I met your grandpa.
I got crabs, and he kept trying to draw the women in the nude.
It's like Jack's got to die. That's what makes it romantic, folks. And I hate to break it to you. But
Yeah, you don't want to see like old Kurt Cobain, you know, doing
right.
insurance ads.
Yeah, no, it's like.
Oh my God, he'd totally be that guy that's like the Instagram photographer that's like, oh, I just think it would be so beautiful if you did this in the nude.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. He's like
Yeah.
just going up to random rich ladies.
Now I'm just imagining like living John Lennon and living Kurt Cobain like doing Super Bowl ads.
I'm not saying I'm happy that icons of
Imagine
rock
all
are
their
dead.
savings.
I'm just saying Jack and Rose, it's so special because
It makes
Jack
it more
dies.
special.
It makes it
It's
more
easy to romanticize and deify even these people.
I feel like it'd be worth it to have Kurt Cobain
And then
still with us.
Yeah, and then like your date gets all sad, and that's when you get your make-out kiss. That's how high
Exactly,
school works.
right. Without
right.
Jack dying, there's no make-out
There's
kiss.
no makeout. Whatever, yeah. All right, keep going.
So revisit the film that's the Rosetta Stone of James Cameron's true passions. Checking out cool animals, putting Kate Winslet underwater, and using his movies as an excuse to dick around with submarines. In this 3-hour epic that turns a real tragedy into the backdrop for a made-up romance. A genre that can be amazing when it works, but it usually doesn't.
You are just so...
Never forget.
Do people remember how insane this is? I don't know if people remember how insane that is.
Starring The Departed, These Rows Ain't Loyal, 90 Day Fiancé. Hey, Grandpa, you might want to sit down for this.
Yar, bring me the heart of the ocean, yar.
Weekend at Bernie's. Well
Bernard
versus
Hill.
Boat of
It's classic actor Bernard
Transportation. The #1 quote of 1997.
I'm the king of the world!
The #1 song of 1997. And the #1 opinion of boys in 1997.
I've thought of nothing except Titanic, but I never got it.
It sinks.
Did you know that Johnny Depp turned down the role of Jack?
97.
Johnny Depp in a doomed romance at sea, playing a hero named Jack with a spoiled rich girl running away from her problems, looking for a mythical treasure, being pursued by arrogant British aristocrats? That would never work.
Yeah, that's a big what if. It's a big what if. I also saw, just in researching for this movie, is Paul Rudd sort of convincing Leo to do Titanic, or not convincing, but like he was trying to decide if he should do Titanic after what movie were they in together?
Oh boy,
Paul Rudd and Leo were both in. Help me out.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
One
But
of
Paul Rudd,
those.
the important thing is that Paul Rudd's dad is a Titanic historian who would go around the country giving Titanic talks.
Wow.
I'll bet 97 was a hell of a year for the Rudd family.
If you were already a Titanic scholar and then this movie came out, jackpot, baby.
Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, right, of course,
right,
Rudd's in
'cause
there.
They were both in
I forgot Rudd was in there. You're right.
All right, let's pause for station identification. We are Honest Trailer Commentaries. Like and subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll never miss another thing.
WNBC.
NBC. We need a drop like 94.7 The Way. Fandom Entertainment.
Ooh, I just felt like I was in an Uber for a second.
I just saw the Wave van was parked. First of all, the Wave van exists, but it was
Sure,
I
of course it does,
parked
yeah.
next to it at our garage. Let's listen to some outtakes or watch them. Even better.
Starring The Waviator, The Great Gatsby, Negative, I'm a Meat Popsicle, Dawson's League, Mayor of Icetown, Upper Decker, Benedict Cumberbund. Listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool dude. James Cameron, American Water Story, Annie Spilks, Misery Loves Company, The Love Boat.
All right.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, we had fun doing that.
Not a lot of outtakes on that one. We got it all. We left it all on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Or if there was an outtake, it was like, well, we said it. It was just a flub.
Sure.
Sometimes we cut stuff just because like it sounds awkward, not because it's a different joke. Adam Hulbert says,
not everything works.
Which horror movie director could make a big budget movie about the cursed Egyptian artifact on the ship when it sank?
What?
Oh, well, okay.
Wait, what? No, is that a real thing? Is there a cursed Egyptian artifact
on the Titanic?
Titanic?
I mean,
because there is. I mean, I was gonna say Stephen Sommers did Deep Rising, which is kind of the horror version of Titanic. It's about a salvage crew that finds a sunken ship, and there's a tentacle monster on board.
Okay.
Treat Williams is in that. It's fun.
All right.
Early film from
you said Stephen Sommers, right?
Yeah, the guy who did The Mummy.
The Mummy.
This
right.
was a pre-Mummy Stephen Sommers release called Deep Rising. It's basically the concept, like, what if Bill Paxton's crew, instead of just the Titanic and then an old woman tells them a love story, what if they ran into a tentacle monster instead?
Hey, now.
Not an anime tentacle monster, just a regular kind.
I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. James, you don't have to do this one because, like, he's the only director I could think of that could actually go down there and get the cursed artifact off of the Titanic.
It's true, in his mini-sub, yeah.
No, we need you,
James.
James, speaking of guys named James Wan was going to do that Trench Aquaman horror movie.
Cursed Titanic.
That's not going to happen, but maybe it's a cursed Titanic movie now, and then those little fish guys attack. Remember the Trench, those little fish guys? Yeah. Angry fishmen.
Pinky asked, not to put you on the spot, Danielle, but you weren't here last week. Will we hear Danielle's views on Black Panther 2?
It was good. I liked it. It made me cry. I thought that it was a little bit too much table setting. I don't know what the dude said, but it felt like it was doing too much to try to carry forth the thing while also trying to be like a memorial. Basically what we said in the trailer, like it was good, but it had a lot to do, and I don't know that it covered everything that it felt like it needed to do while still feeling like just like a movie about Black Panther.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of what we said last week.
Yeah,
like I think we're all basically in agreement on that one.
Boom. Ben Zaiten says, do you think this movie would have been better if they didn't add that very last bit of her dying and being reunited with everyone in heaven / the Titanic?
I'm so glad somebody brought this up. I've seen this movie several times, at least 2 or 3 times all the way through. This was probably my 4th, I would say, viewing. This was the first time I ever realized that she died. I always thought of that as just a dream sequence at the end, like she's been talking about Titanic all day, so when she goes to bed at night, she dreams. But this time I realized, oh no, everybody she sees in that last dream sequence, they're all people we know died. They're all confirmed Titanic kills.
Yeah.
There's nobody who survived. And so it's like, oh no, she's doing a Lost. She when she dies, she's going to be reunited with all of the people who she was with on the Titanic who died.
Right.
Which is very weird.
That's where that cursed object comes in. Because now you have to live on the Titanic.
She did meet another man and start a family. They had grandkids. He doesn't get to go to Titanic heaven. It's just Jack waiting for her by a clock. Guy she knew for 2 days.
If you die on the Titanic, you go to Titanic heaven.
You go to or Titanic hell. We don't see enough to know if it's heaven or hell, really.
Here's an interesting one. Evan J. Pretzer. When shooting this, the crew was given LSD without their consent.
Is this true?
Would this movie be better if everyone was high? Almost. I was Googling it. I was like, what? But there's an Entertainment Weekly report that came out in 1996. PCP. They were spiked with a disaffected crew member spiked their lunch with angel dust and got a lot of people really, really effed up during the filming of Titanic.
But it wasn't on purpose. It was like somebody screwed with the production.
No,
like it was one bad. It wasn't like the production was like, let's get all these guys on PCP and make the movie better.
No, it was not to make the movie better.
It was like one guy went rogue.
Yes,
it was
somebody
crazy.
went rogue, and Bill Paxton got really high on angel dust.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Some people were laughing. Some people were crying. Some people were throwing up. They all went to the hospital. The next day felt really anxious. Yeah, I just need to look into this story.
But what was the question?
Would the movie have been better?
No. What?
If everyone was high. If everyone was on PCP. Generally, no. Have you seen that Mad Men episode where they give everyone speed?
Yeah, hard to get work done,
Yeah,
I think.
tricky.
Also,
unless your work is
all that water, all of those stunts, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah.
Unless your work is just like lifting superhuman feats of strength. Right. I don't think angel dust is helping.
Yeah.
My job is being naked in a laundromat, then yes, that's the one for you.
Trying to get bugs off of me that aren't actually on me. So
here's a good one. Benjamin Abramowitz, have any of you seen those weird Italian animated Titanic movies? One has a rapping dog, one has an octopus with a puppy face, and one has the characters traveling to Atlantis. No. But we were also discussing when is...
Wait. Yeah. You're going to just jump right over that? I don't know what this is, but it sounds fascinating.
Well, we were talking about when the, I guess, statute of limitations expires on, like, making light of a historical tragedy where a lot of people died. How soon is too soon? Because there were a lot of fun action toys and play sets about the Titanic.
Yeah, I think the fact that it was already like almost 100 years ago when the movie came out, people just did not have any hang-ups about making it fun and like the Titanic experience, you know, like. Whereas if it was more recent, although Remember Me is stomping all over 9/11, so
that was fast.
Like, who knows? Maybe there
was
really
no like 9/11 toy set. Like,
no,
no bounce house.
But I gotta check out these Italian ones.
Yeah,
that sounds great. Just Italian animated Titanic movies.
All right, sure. Octopus with a boy's face. All right, I'm gonna look into it.
Almog Dove writes, why no skidee, skidee, skidee sounds during the Jack Pulls Rose montage? I would love to do that. I can't put that in everyone, but I think when appropriate, we will drop in the Pinocchio skidee, skidee, skidee.
There is, I won't give it away, but our movie for next week includes a great Alan moment where a character is having like a dream sequence on public transportation and like wakes up with a start. It's a really good one.
Bring back Alan.
Yeah, we can bring back Alan next
Unless
week.
Kevin's been putting him in and I just haven't.
No, I don't think so, but I keep a close eye.
Let's end with this one. I'm Too Hot for Thou. How do you rank Cameron's movies? There's your favorite James Cameron movie.
Wow. Okay. Tough.
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
That's tough to top.
Yeah, I feel like it's Aliens or Terminator 2 for me, and I'm back and forth between those two. I actually think Terminator 1, there's a solid case to be made. I really like that one. I feel like it's a little underrated because T2 gets all the love, but yeah, I mean, if you're going T2, I'll go Aliens. Let's do it that way.
I think Titanic is probably his best, and Terminator 2 are probably tied for his best movies. But for me, most rewatchable, True Lies.
Yeah,
I'm watching.
I love that. I do love
True
that
Lies every day and twice on Sunday.
I do love that. True Lies.
That's so good.
You know, James Cameron's one of those dudes where every time I'm like, I'm not like this huge James Cameron fan, and then people start naming my favorite movies, and then I remember that I named my cats Ripley and Hudson, and I have to evaluate whether or not I am a huge James Cameron fan.
The man knows. The man knows his way around a tentpole blockbuster.
Yep.
I'll say that.
Ooh,
you know?
boy.
Well, I'm glad we got one of the biggest movies of all time out of the way, because now it's time for a fan favorite. And by fan favorite, I mean our favorite. And next week it's going to be something that's it's a secret. And we can't tell you. It's so secretive that nobody, save for large portions of Hong Kong,
the entire population of Hong Kong somehow knows about it, but they're not supposed to.
Yeah, if I told you about this sporting event, I would have to kill you, because that's totally allowed. I'm so happy with
full contact.
Full contact. Its time has finally come. I'm doing the splits in joy, and that'll be next week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.